United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just want to yell after.
Like, we are good to go.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Board of Commissioners moves to approve the July 26th special meeting minutes.
Second. Roll call. Connie?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky? Yes.
Oh, hearing.
All right. If you want to come on up, Shannon and Bob.
And I learned a new word. I didn't know there was such a word as retirement.
Viral. Okay. We'll recess our board of commissioners meeting. We'll go into the public meeting to rehire Portage County retired Robert Foley, maintenance 3. Good morning, everyone, and welcome, Bob and Shannon. The purpose of this meeting is being held in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code Section 145.381 to hear public comments and answer questions concerning the proposed rehire of retiring Portage County Maintenance Worker 3, Robert Foley, with a proposed rehire date on or about, on or about Thursday, September 1st. 2022. Notice was published in the Record Courier newspaper on June 19th, 2022. If Mr. Foley is retiring on August 31st, 2022, and is rehired on September 1st, 2022, he will forfeit 2 months of the retirement allowance he would have received. It is recommended that Mr. Foley consult directly with OPERS or OPERS to discuss this aspect of the Ohio Revised Code 145.38, so he is aware of that provision. Shannon Councilman, Portage County Facility Manager, is recommending the rehire of Mr. Foley effective September 1st, 2022. Do we have any comment or any public comment?
I just want to confirm, Bob, that you know about that, checking with the Ohio Revised Code, because I didn't. Okay, thank you.
Several times.
Okay. I'm sure you know more about it than I did.
Sabrina, you have
Okay.
a question?
You know what, Barbara, I think we have to swear you in, so.
Fine.
Okay. You'll swear in that, I don't even know what it is.
It's always where.
Oh, it's the same thing. Comment. Okay.
I'm just curious why you're retiring and then rehiring instead of just continuing to work.
Oh, Barb, do you solemnly swear everything you're about to say?
Oh, yes, I
Okay,
do.
okay, I do. Is there anyone else that needs to be sworn in that would like to have public comment? Okay, sorry, Barb, go ahead.
So did you hear the question?
You can repeat it.
I'm just curious why you're retiring and then rehiring instead of just continuing to work and building up more retirement benefits thereby, and losing out 2 months.
Right. I'm actually able to, once my benefits do begin, I'm able to begin my retirement check.
In addition to
And then return to
retirement.
work and.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Is there any other public comment?
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want you to know how wonderful Bob is.
He's fantastic. If we ever need him, he's there. He's amazing. I mean, you are, Bob. You're great. And anytime that he's ever, if we call him in on a Saturday or after hours, right there.
And
Never
then,
is anything.
wouldn't it be fair to say it's been challenging to replace folks in
I
maintenance?
still have a maintenance tree position open.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very challenging and it's very hard to find good, and all of our staff is fabulous. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I do I have to swear in?
No.
I was just gonna say that we have a very hard time filling maintenance positions, and I will tell you,
And
Bob
that's for
is
years.
the old painter. He does an amazing job. No raise intended, but yes, he brings a great skill to this county, and I really appreciate you staying on with us, quite honestly.
Yes.
So
Both of that
we
is
appreciate what you
always.
bring to this county, and again, we have had a hard time filling.
He is very, very kind to the public. And
Very
even when they call him not the right name. Why not? I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, I thought your name was Bob. Because it is. Yeah, I get caught, all the time. I just answer.
Yeah, Bob the painter.
Bob the painter.
Thanks, Bob. We really do appreciate what you bring.
Yes. Is there any other comments? Otherwise, we can read the journal entry code.
Board moves and after holding a hearing required by public meeting today regarding rehire of a retiring Portage County Maintenance Worker 3, Robert Polly, the Board of Commissioners approves the rehire of Robert Polly as Maintenance Worker 3 beginning September 1st, 2022.
Second,
Roll call.
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
yes.
Welcome back.
Yes. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Yes. And we'll go ahead and reconvene to the Board of Commissioners meeting. Welcome back, Paul, Bob.
So my
Thank you.
grandmother used to.
Thank you.
If we answered anything.
My grandma would give me the whole family.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone? Yes, you. Good. Be quick today. I was just gonna say, just it's like the normal.
The only one that is a little different is the third one, and that is, we have adult, remember the full name, we call them 533 funds that are sort of flexible in public assistance, and we had about $4,500 left over that we're moving.
Okay.
Board moves to transfer funds 1415 Child Welfare Special Levy Fund to Fund 1410 Public Assistance Fund.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
yes.
Board moves to transfer Fund 1413 WIA Fund to Fund 1410 Public Assistance Fund.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
Board moves to transfer Fund 1410 Public Assistance Fund to Fund 1414 Child Support Administration.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
And Sue, before you leave, you guys handed this last week, I think. Yep. So I think the director needs to make a change up top there, that first blue square.
Okay, I didn't even look.
But yeah, I'll let you look at. Yeah, so there, I find a problem with that. And I haven't spoken to the other two commissioners, but I think that needs to be either spoken to or changed. Look at the first blue square.
At the very top?
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about those Board of Commissioners and then County Administrator, and then it looks like she reports directly to the Board of
Yes,
Commissioners.
yes. So the JFS is under
I see
Board
what
of
you mean.
Commissioners.
Okay, yep, I'll follow that.
Okay, great.
Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, okay. Right.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Sue. Joseph. Morning, sir.
How are you?
No, good.
I don't have any discussions regarding the scratch out.
Okay.
Then renovated pretty much.
In accordance with the section 305.30K of the Ohio Revised Code, this board's resolution 21-0396 and this board's resolution 21-0878. Board of Commissioners acknowledges and approves the county administrator approval to direct the county auditor's office to process the July 28, 2002 bills, ACH payments, wires, journal vouchers, and then and nows as applicable, contingent upon the verification of the reports as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Financial Management.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
yes.
Some of those words just get stuck in there. Board of Commissioners moves the process to July 28, 2022's budget amendments as reviewed and recommended by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
Board's resolution to transfer Fund 1201 Motor Vehicle Gas Tax Fund to Fund 4259 Talmadge Road Section MNR resurface. Resurface.
Second,
Okay, roll call. Tony?
Yep.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
Board moves to create Fund 4261 Stanley Road Bridge Replacement.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, Janet.
Great timing.
You're in perfect time.
I have a very short agenda today.
Yeah. In accordance with section 305.30 of the Ohio Revised Code, this board's resolution 21-0396, part 9, the Board of Commissioners acknowledges and approves the county administrator's approval to. Board moves to authorize the hire of Zachary Cornell, engineer technician 1, replacing David Christ in Portage County Water Resources. Tentative start date is August 8th, 2022. The Board of Commissioners agrees that this hire is contingent upon the applicant passing the required pre-employment screening.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
Board moves to approve the anniversary step increase for the following non-bargaining employees. Megan Brown, ECSA Supervisor, effective July 25th, 2022. Melanie Dugan, SC CASA Attorney, effective 8/8/2022. And Lori Swickenheimer, Swickheimer, PSCA Supervisor, effective August 22nd, 2022.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was it.
Yeah.
Short.
I feel lonely. That's not. Morning, Allison.
Hello, hello.
All right, so we've been talking about the One Ohio settlement for a while. This is just a resolution that's allowing us to go ahead and create the fund to formally accept that money, but we need to do this first.
How much money did we get to accept?
81,000.
Just 81?
81,000.
But it's over a span of time, correct?
20 years.
20 years,
we get
15 years?
20 years.
So.
But yes,
Resolution to accept payments of One Ohio settlement under One Ohio memorandum of understanding.
Second,
Roll call. Tony?
Yes,
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes.
that's all.
I like seeing you sometimes. Water resources.
Oh, he's not here yet. We're ahead of schedule. Yeah, I had to think of
Okay,
Ryan, do you want to come
come
on?
on up there, Ryan.
Since you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. I do have a presentation again.
Okay.
We completed the survey and I wanted to give you the results.
Yeah.
5 minutes. So if I should give it to college try, plug in, should it work?
Yeah, you should in the back.
I do have handouts, I'm prepared otherwise.
Of course you're prepared.
That's the name of the game, isn't it?
You had your job title, prepared, emergency management,
Mr.
I
Preparedness.
think we do okay.
top scout, always prepared.
I helped an Eagle Scout once. All right.
Oh. No, the bottom line.
Now you got me.
Below the screen.
I'm a millennial, but come on.
You crumble.
Well, is there a?
There.
Google?
Yes, you do.
I did both up, I need glasses.
Oh, you don't mind? You want the Michelle readers?
You want us to push the TV out a little bit so you can see it?
You didn't bring your flashlight?
Believe it or not, where are we at? Starting to have a hard time seeing a fishing line, that's not a good thing.
Do you want me to click or do you want to click?
Click it.
I'll do it. Gen Z will do it.
Gen Z, thank you. The fishing line thing.
We're getting more and more.
Hold on, let me go back in and share.
Thank you, sir. Here, I'll pass them around, boys.
Follow along.
You.
All right.
Thank you.
Sir.
There.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, you're good.
Prepared, all right.
Ryan's on it. He is absolutely in the perfect position.
All right, we
Mr.
good to go?
Prepared.
We're good, good.
There you go.
Okay, so we're gonna do a quick little overview, probably 5 minutes or so of the survey results. As you know, about a month ago, well, end of June.
Yeah.
We delivered the broadband survey, that's the cover letter. The way we did it was a PDF fillable, so we did create a PDF fillable document. You would fill it out, send it back to our email, pcma@co.com email. We also distributed paper copies to the library. We sent requests to all municipal and council leaders that if you want paper copies, we'll deliver them to your town hall, because not everybody's present at all times. So we could just do a blast. We actually did not get a request from anybody for specific deliveries to the town hall. That's why we distributed it to the library. And then in some circumstances, we did do specific arrangements, including mailing a copy to an individual, or we would hand deliver it to a house, depending on the situation. So all we had to do was contact the office. What there's some lessons learned right off the week, that's okay. And there was ways to improve it. With our new county website, we're able to create a digitally fillable survey right on the website. And as soon as you click enter, it goes right to the. So as soon as we created that, they started. So there was a part of the very beginning, we couldn't even keep up with how many surveys were coming in at one time. So what we were doing is taking the surveys and transferring it to an Excel document. So basically, once we had that Excel document, we gave it to GIS to analyze the data for us. We'll show you the results. Eventually slowed down a little bit, but all in all, we had 464 surveys at that. So obviously still a small sample size, but well beyond what I thought we were going to get. So, and here are some of the results of that survey today. When you just do a basic map, this kind of shows you where a majority of those results came from, and I apologize, you can't see over my shoulder here. Obviously, with our Spectrum broadband projects, other than our little camera view, most of the survey results came in from the area that's looking to be closed with the broadband project that we've chosen, as well as the RDOF, the federal monies that are coming into Portage County. So primarily Northeast Portage and a little bit of Harris Township. Little couple of things that may stick out to you is this gray swap here. And you'll notice this gray swap follows this swap. So the whole purpose of the survey was to find areas that we said the mapping weren't identified. So the mapping was kind of vague, it wasn't detailed, and I think we did that through this survey. So even with this map that was provided by Spectrum, we're still seeing results of areas that are technically at least in the public eye, need that served, even though they're showing they're being served by broadband.
So when we look at this, the whole county being 162,000, what is the population base of that from the Camp Garfield, that area? Yeah, well, where you're getting a lot of the surveys from.
Adita, actually, it's not too rural. Nelson Township, I believe, is well over 3,000 people. You have a couple different villages in Garrettsville. You start getting up a little north in Hunter. There's some areas, maybe this is a little better on this map. So the population base, even though rural in a sense, is a little more heavier in northeastern Portage.
So we're talking maybe 15 to 20,000 people.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
And I can give you a better.
Yeah, that's, I just want to put it in perspective.
Possibly a little bit more. I mean, total, I think, what the city is consuming, maybe 50 or so percent, maybe 60% of our population, and the rest of the township.
So Ryan, did the survey, did you get responses back for people that, I'm looking at, it's the sporadic spots down below, that are not very heavily concentrated. Are those folks that just have internet, it's just not fast enough, or something that you were getting?
We'll show you some of those results.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll show you kind of breakdown of all the data.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This is just a simple heat map, so just kind of telling you that the concentration, once again, of the responses were up in this northeastern portion. And regarding your question, you're seeing some responses in city limits, whether Ravenna, Kent, Aurora. And not only was that, hey, and I'll say it out loud, I'm not afraid to say it, well, we're Spectrum, we have Spectrum, but we're having outages. Our internet is fast. Or if there's places this is dominated by Spectrum, well, it's anticipated time warner cable. So how long is it going to take before you start updating some of that old cable that's been out there for 20 years plus years run by time warner cable? But we're having disruptions. The other thing that populates, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself, is there's only one or two providers. So a lot of times in the responses, especially in the cities, is they want other options. They want affordability. Right? So once you have one provider, they can control the costs, which is what we knew from the get-go. There's quite a monopoly. Even though there is a diverse group of people that serve, it's primarily dominated by one or two vendors, and it is quite a monopoly, and people want more options. That kind of thing. We've also shared it in a second. While a busy map, so if you remember, we broke down the question into two. So access, is there a provider that serves your area? Access, is the provider reliable? Do they provide robust service? The other one was affordability. Are they affordable, or do you just don't care? Right. So those were the four questions we asked. Some people check the box for one, some people check the box for multiple. So what you see here is a color code on how people responded, and you'll see a lot of brown, which was our largest response. And they said there was a lack of availability and a lack of a reliable and robust service. The next response right behind that was this line green, which was a lack of availability, reliable and robust, and affordability. I mean, if you actually, and I'm gonna be maybe a little passionate right now, but if you read some of these surveys over where someone's paying $100 and some plus dollars for 7 megabytes of service, and it goes out 3 or 4 times a day. All right, that's the reality in some of these areas. So, and that's another reason why we did this survey, because it is truly limited. There are providers, and I can pull out a handful of them, but their service is negligent at best. I mean, I don't know if
Substandard,
negligent is
yeah.
the appropriate word, but it is, when it goes out 3 or 4 times a day, when it goes out all week long, and they don't give you any reprieve on your billing, and they're charging you over $100 a month for 7 megabytes of service, things that we take for granted in other places of the county. It's pretty alarming. And then a lot of times, the next thing you know, affordability was a big thing. You know, here we are paying $100, but we're getting 7 megabytes. This kind of shows you the diversity response. You have a copy, it'll show you all the little different ways people responded. But primarily, you're looking at lack of availability, lack of reliability. Different way to look at it. This is what kind of service do you have? In the red is very poor, orange is poor, yellow is average, and then we had good and very good. Obviously, you see a lot of red and orange dominate this map. And then even in the places where they said, hey, I do have very good or good service, but I just want other options. So, and then there were some people that just made a survey and said, I'm happy with the plan, which is okay, right? We were expecting those, that wasn't the intent, but there was a couple that said, hey, I'm happy, this is great, I get great service, okay. Well, I appreciate you submitting that, we'll capture that data for you. Participating jurisdictions, no surprise there, Garrettsville, Wyndham, and Hiram was 54% of the respondents. And the difficulty is obviously when you get into Garrettsville, Wyndham, or Hiram, that's Wyndham Township, that's Freedom Township, that's Nelson Township, that's Taylorsville. There's places in Freedom Township that have a Ravenna mailing address, they have a Nanoway mailing address, they have a Garrettsville mailing address, they have a Wyndham mailing address. So it's hard to keep track of the mailing city versus the township. And not everybody realizes that they live in a township. They kind of focus on their mailing city. That's even a complication that we have in the 911 where I live in Nanoway. No, you live in Freedom Township. So we dial 911. So we broke it down based on the mailing city, but no, that probably consumes most of the townships that surround those areas, not so much the villages themselves. And then let's see, we had Ravenna at 16% after that, but I would assume that's mostly Ravenna Township and actually Freedom as well. So going along 88 up to Freedom Township. No service providers. Most of the complaints were against Spectrum, to be honest with you, and I would attribute it to antiquated Time Warner cable. So when are you going to update this stuff? And then this company called Suddenly. I mean, there is an extreme amount of frustration. Sorry, Suddenly, if you hear me right now on this phone, but I'm not going to hide it from you. There's a lot of frustrations with Suddenly here in Northeastern Portage, and they need to provide a better service. Nor is there really a good customer service when there's outages and other things. There was a pretty consistent message regarding some of these companies. But as you can see, 40% of the respondents were a little frustrated with Suddenly, and then some were with Spectrum as well. So, but Spectrum primarily dominates the entire area. Just another way to show the data, if someone went into a little further, but access was 66% of our respondents, so there's a lack of providers available in the area, typically one provider. Were the providers reliable and robust? That was 73% were checked. Affordability was 45%, and then adoption, those are the individuals that don't really care about broadband, was only 2%. So kind of there's a tell a little bit of data. We'll talk about it here in a second. Main complaints, there was only out of the 464 responses, 235 provided detailed responses, so they elaborated on some of the frustrations. 2% said it was faulty lines or antiquated cable. Prices too high, monopoly was 7%. No access, they have to use literally cell phone coverage and hotspots. There's literally no access was 2%. Can't teleschool work or medical was 5%, which was concerning. I think being in rural communities, and I'll reiterate this again here in a little bit, there was a lot more people working from home than I think we assume there is. So whether COVID created that environment, but it's here to stay. Whether we like it or not, it is here to stay. And there's a lot of people in our rural communities that do want telework. They do want telemedical, where they can visit their doctor over the phone. And there was a lot of concern. There was a couple individuals that said they're either close to losing their job or have lost their job due to the inability to have internet in their communities. No service at all, 1%. Slow, poor customer service, 17%, and then won't run fiber to my home or territory is 9%. So you may see it where 3 houses down, they have service, but they will not run a line in the houses, or they will not run a line across the street. or the services at the street, but I live 300 yards off the street in a rural community of 20 acres, and they won't run a line down my driveway.
Is that because are they saying it's cost prohibitive or, I mean, what?
We want to, so for example, if XYZ vendor says it would cost us $9,000 to run a cable to your house because we live so far back in the woods. We'll pay $3,000, you pay $6,000. Well, not a lot of people are capable of doing that.
No.
And sometimes it's even more exorbitant than that. So that was just a low hanging fruit example. You could be $15,000 to run a line, or they want you to run it from the street to the houses. So there's not a huge cut. There's a couple of multiple factors here that are influencing. So what we do and do not know at this time, and kind of what direction we want to go after this is, can Spectrum or the noted limited vendors increase capacity or go into a competitor's territory? So will Spectrum, just for an example, go into Southern Lake territory? The answer of what we think is absolutely not. Usually, whether it's Windstream, Frontier, Southern Lake, they will not go into each other's territory. And if one doesn't care to serve that area and provide better service, there's literally nothing nobody's going to be able to do. So of the 464 locations, which ones are earmarked to be closed by 2026? I've already started that engagement with our current vendor, Spectrum, to see which ones are being closed. I've requested the GIS data. We're going to overlay the data and see which places are going to be closed.
What do you mean which places are going to be closed?
So based on the projects that we've already funded to be closed by 2026,
Oh.
federal money and then our local ARPA money.
Mhm.
Of those locations that submitted a survey, which ones are actually going to be served?
Okay, there. When you said closed, I'm like, okay.
Our closed service. We'll go-
Okay, okay.
If the vendor is unwilling to provide a better service, what options can be done? And then, I mean, literally, if they're just not going to do it, we don't have the capacity to do it. What else can we do to provide internet? And I put this little quote here from a resident that said, it's 2022, we should have high-speed internet in our area for about a time. So we're not talking out to the far end of the corner, just right outside one of our bigger cities.
Why is it that the vendors, if I'm doing a horrible job, somebody else could do better, why don't I cross over that territory?
Competitors.
Yeah, and then here's the
Well,
next
that's
thing.
usually a competitor says, you're doing a lousy job, like, Mike, you're doing a lousy job, I'm gonna come in and service.
It's probably the same thing as water line. You know, we're not gonna, a private sector isn't gonna come in and run a water line. Water lines provide a better service. So it may be a little bit of a economy of scale. But for what basically what they're saying is they won't go into competitors. And when you don't have that competition, there's not a real care to
Right.
provide.
Right.
So, it's a little unfortunate, but we haven't talked to Southern Link, haven't talked to Usenet, haven't talked to Center Link, which are kind of our, and the Frontier after that, which is our 4 biggest complaints, followed by Spectrum itself. More rural people, more people in the rural areas are working from home and want a virtual task platform, and that's been exacerbated and solidified by COVID. So I think there's a little bit of assumption that some of the rural areas don't want basic amenities, they want a pretty nice. Don't think that's necessarily true. Rural locations want basic amenities, and then people clearly want them not. They do. That was almost evident. Multiple surveys, they want the monopoly broken up, and I put fixed wireless may be a feasible solution to help close that. So we have people that are unwilling to run lines. They're just going to be stubborn. They're not going to do it. Spectrum can't go into their service and help out. We're going to be stagnant here for the next 20 to 30 years. Then why not look at a fixed wireless and go right over top of them? Say, okay, well then we're going to do this. That's an option. Just going to throw it up to you. So closing with options, continue to engage with Spectrum and reconcile the data. I'm going to continue to do that and try to figure out those 464 locations, what areas are going to be closed. I'm sorry, this slide isn't on here.
Oh.
I created the slide this morning and printed it yesterday. So try to reconcile that data. Re-engage with Ohio TT to scale the project based on new data. Okay, so Ohio TT was a fixed wireless vendor that met all the specifications. Spectrum was a fiber cable vendor. So we've already done a competitive procurement process on a fixed wireless vendor. They meet all the requirements. You think about with the March project, with a commitment to build 2 towers, that was a part of the Ohio TT project. So that actually takes the overall budget of the Ohio TT down. Okay, and then there's a little bit we did over budget on the broadband side of the house. So we do have some more money available to do some other broadband things. Ms. Deal, notice there wasn't a grant that was available to us. It's due in September. It does have a 30% match. So that's always an option out there. If we wanted to apply, doesn't mean we'll be awarded. But if we apply for a fixed wireless project, we would need a 30% match locally. But with the total project, I think Ohio TT was around 7 million to do a countywide broadband project. Now, if that's 5 or if that's 4, or we can scale it back to be more strategic. Now that 30% match has gone down. And then, what local communities, what local commitment and partnerships can we get? Have all our townships spent their ARPA money? Is there other opportunities or partnerships to help meet that match? Or is it on our shoulders only? So there's a lot of different opportunities, I think, to make this happen if the will's there. We just need to stay concurrent. So with the March Towers, obviously I'm moving forward with that. We got the RFQs back from Joanne today to do the engineering design. In the 11th hour, you may have to go back and say, hey, we're going to build these towers and I need space for broadband capability alone. So instead of building a $2 million towers, now you just buy the $90,000 air equipment to put on. So the whole project cost goes down. So the 30% is an extra. Or we can encourage them to apply for the state funding. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to come to Portage County. They don't see Portage County as a problem area. It's like Appalachian, Ohio, right? Most of their funding is going to Appalachian, Ohio. They don't consider Northeast Ohio to be, I forget the word, at this service at other locations in Ohio. And then, or we wait for future opportunities. Seems like broadband is possible. I don't know, be all doubt we're ever going to skip on the funding opportunity again down the road, but there is a lot of build outs and maybe we sit back and wait for future opportunities. So that's kind of where I leave with you today. I think I've done everything I can to try to provide much information on this problem as possible.
Very much, Brian. Thank you.
So I guess I'll just, I'm going to reconcile the data, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And then, I would like to speak to Ohio DET and see what a scale back project and just give you back the situation. And then if you see if there's an opportunity for a grant opportunity, then we can.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ryan.
I think Dan's out there.
See you. They're nice. Thank you, Ryan. Nice job.
Here I am, just to confirm, you will be talking with Spectrum to give them this data to say, listen, there are new people.
I already have, yeah.
Okay.
He's on vacation next week. So I told him he returns. We'll send that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you.
Good job, good job.
Hey,
Come on.
good morning. Come on up. Good morning, both of you.
Hey, Dan, how's it going? Good to see you. Hi, Tia.
Good morning. All right. So we have here, first thing is discussion regarding the Village of Nanoway surcharge evaluation report. Do you want to add anything? I mean, what you gave us the report ahead of time and I reviewed it and I would coincide with your recommendations and understand why. I don't know, Tony,
Yeah, I did.
do you have any?
Get a little bit of a discussion, so the public get here, kind of a brief summary.
Well, per the agreement, we are to evaluate our expenses and revenues as they come in, as well as the projects for the Village of Nanoway. To evaluate whether we're collecting enough money in the surcharge. So annually, we are to look at that, and so we compiled all that information. It came out that based on the, I'm trying to explain this. So there's a cap that we can raise the surcharge, and that's set by the CPI. And then there's the other way that we looked at it, and that was looking at how much the projects are projected to cost, as well as what we've spent to date. And as the revenues come in, we kind of balance it out. So the agreement says that we can't go over the CPI. So we're recommending which was 4.6%, the CPI, but we're recommending not to raise the surcharge at this time because we're looking at raising our base rate. So right now, the average Village of Nanoway customer is paying $128.17 a month for sewer and water. And that's for an LMI community. So it's an extra $65 than our average customer in Portage County to pay for these projects. So
it's my understanding that, in agreement with your guys' recommendation, part of that is because, we have a rate study that's going on that could impact this. We also have grants that have been applied that could also offset some of these projects and stuff. And again, also affect the increase of
Correct.
the surcharge or the construction index. Well, the construction index set, but it's 3% or the 4.7, I think. was
Yeah,
the-
it was, yeah, exactly.
That's why.
By
it's
the
capped out.
CPI, so, yeah, and the other thing is that this information is coming in daily. We just recently got another principal forgiveness from Ohio EPA for the next.
Yeah, I
I
saw that. And so really, I mean, like you said, we could raise it, but then again, there's so many, it seems like moving variants and factors that we don't have really to make a good recommendation on this. And of course, like you said, would it be in a low to moderate income area? You know, it really has a huge impact, even a slight increase. You know, I know when this first had to go on, you know, it was tough for a lot of those folks. So,
Right.
and we still reserve the right to do it at any point in time, is what I
Right.
read. So,
Yeah, because the surcharge cap that we use, the 4.6, that's that cap for next year. So if it increases the 3 say next year, the CPI is 5. So then we would add the 5%. So we would add the 4.6 and the 5%, and that would be their new cap. So we could actually jump it to the 2023 cap. So that cap is continually going up. So if things straighten out, or if we want to pay it off quicker or something like that, or things get better, we can pop the surcharge up to the cap, or we can just leave it where it is and extend the loan time on things, how long we're going to finance it.
Right.
And so,
yeah, and that's what I thought. There's a lot of things that could impact it. And like I said, we could extend the loan time. I saw on that, depending on what grants that we get, impacts us. There's loans that are getting forgiven. The debt, the former debt is being forgiven. So there's a lot of moving pieces and parts, but that really could impact this community. And so I agree with your recommendation at this point. So I don't know if Vicki or Tony
Oh,
have any.
absolutely.
Yep. So when the length of it, is there a, you can't go over this, is it 30 years, 25 years? Or you can keep saying, all right, we're gonna go another 15 years or 20
yeah,
years.
and the reason why we want to present it to village council is so that when we get to that situation, they get the choice to what we do is we present to you.
Mhm.
Then we take it to village council, and then we say, this is the situation, this is how we're gonna go. And village council can come back and say, raise the surcharge so we can shorten the time that the village wants to pay these off. Or they can say, let's extend this out and we'll just pay the surcharge longer. So that's why we want to have this communication with the village, and then the village, whatever comes out of the village, would come back to you for the board makes the final decision. So this is more of, here's what we're going to present to village council. If you could agree, we'll take it to village council and present it. And whatever they come back and say, we'll bring back to you.
So our objective is work as much with village council. We're gonna agree with whatever they say, hey, we'd like to shorten it or extend it. And that's really up to them. We try to work as best we can with their.
Right. We want them to feel that they're still a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of their infrastructure that they built and they paid for, and now they're going to pay for again.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
want to have an open communication. But the bottom line is the board makes the final decision on everything.
And Tia, we understand that that's the process. However, we depend on you folks to give us the advice, just like you did here. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're the experts on this stuff. You are.
Okay.
Great.
All right, you want to read the journal entries?
The Board of Commissioners concurs with the Portage County Water Resources recommendation and the Village of Nanoway Water and Sewer Surcharge Evaluation Report to not raise the monthly water and sewer surcharges and give Portage County Water Resources permission to present the report to the Village of Nanoway Council.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners authorize Portage County to apply for and accept and enter into the Water Supply Resolution Loan Account, WSRLA agreement with Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, Ohio EPA, for the first phase of the design of the water facilities and designating and dictated repayment sources, dedicated, I'm sorry. Rep- Dedicated repayment sources for the loan project number MW 021180, Village of Manaway Water Distribution Replacement for the Village of Manaway Public Water Systems and Portage County, the Portage County Water Resources Department.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you both for.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
All right, yeah, bye. Let's go to miscellaneous. Our next one is British Development Disabilities, but that's not till 10.
The Board of Commissioners acknowledges the receipt of amended certificate of estimated resources dated July 26, 2022, as presented by the Portage County Budget Commission.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
The Board of Commissioners assigned the subordination of the standstill agreement with the senior lender, the Portage County Commissioners and Portage Home 2 Limited Partnership, CO, Neighborhood Development Services as requested by the Neighborhood Development Services.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
The Board of Commissioners approves the July 2022 adjustment of the Portage County Water, Portage County Sewer, Streetsboro Sewer billing accounts as reported on the adjustment, reported, submitted, and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners acknowledges the receipt of July 29th, 2022 correspondence from Diane Heaney, Veteran Services Office Manager, including the signed statement 2022 Memorial Day expenses.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners acknowledges the receipt of the August 1st, 2022 certificate of the county auditor that total annual appropriations from each fund do not exceed the official certificate of estimate resources for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2022, as presented by the Portage County Auditor's Office.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners moved to acknowledge the appointment of John Clyde Watson to the Portage County Regional Authority Board of Trustees.
Second.
It's actually the airport. They left the airport off of there. It's Portage County Regional Airport Authority Board of Trustees. All right, roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Yes.
All right. Let's see here.
Would you like us to go? Jan and I to go?
Yep.
Sure.
Sarah, would you mind to call Jan, please? Could you please? That would be great.
We're going to David Tree today at the tour.
Ryan always does such a nice job, doesn't he? He works hard.
His presentations are awesome.
Yeah,
He has a lot of passion for that.
he does. He really does.
Can it come on in?
In accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1, the Board of Commissioners moves to enter an executive session and consider the employment of a public employee.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
Yes.
I look for your recorder.
We are.
Actually, it doesn't have batteries anymore.
Lynn, how are you?
Morning, Joe. How are you?
We are good to go.
Hi, Lynn.
Good morning. Morning, Chris. Lynn, come on up, sir. Okay.
You're next.
Morning. Lynn, how are you? Very good. Good to meet you as well. So-
Good morning.
You have seen before?
Yes.
Pardon?
Exiting by session?
Yeah, exhibit.
I'll make a motion to, adjourn or exit. The extra session.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
Yes.
Any action? No action. All right,
Discussion, sir.
on to you, Lynn.
Well, we successfully negotiated our Unit A agreement here recently. And as you know, we bring it to you for approval after we finish it off. It was, interesting, we used a little different approach this year. We did, modified traditional bargaining where, FMCS kind of coordinated it for us. And we met all day, for several days and what we do before we meet. Starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and going to the evening after 3 or 4 hours. You
Right.
yeah, okay, nothing heck if I worked all day.
Yeah.
But we did well and under Mr. Genetti's leadership, we've got some good things going on.
Yes, yes. Okay, did you want to go over from the highlights? I know you had emailed us some of the highlights, or is there any comments you want to make regarding
You know, the only thing I would point out is, you may have that someone.
Yeah,
For the last contract, or two, employees have been employed prior to 5/1/11. Their payments froze. To a point now where we can unfreeze their pay, they can start getting step increases. The base salary has not changed, but step increases have resumed. And for the employees hired after 5/1/11, we extended their pay scales out from 5 steps and 8 steps to 16 steps, so there's more growth available to them.
What's that froze from 2011? That's not.
Because, when we looked at how they compared to other other agencies,
in the state,
they were in the state, they were among the top paid in the state.
they still are.
And they still are. And so fine, that's why the base pay hasn't changed. We're trying to get
Bring
that
it
back in
in.
line.
I'm glad you guys look at other places because some people don't like to do that.
Yeah.
And I see you also have a build-in for the employees that are at the max of the steps, or
Yes, they get a lot of stuff. And I'll also point out that we agreed to a one-time.
yeah, 2,500.
25. That's because we know what the economic times are. Employees need a little help, and so we thought this is one way to do it. Not adding to their base salary, but it does put some money in their pocket.
It makes, I'm sure they appreciate it. It makes them realize that you appreciate them. Okay,
Any other questions?
I don't have any. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. The board moves it to accept and approve the collective bargaining agreement between Portage County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Portage DD, and the Portage County Educators Association for the Developmentally Disabled Unit A.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes,
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
Yes.
thank you, sir, for coming in.
You're Leslie.
Thank you for your time.
Wow.
Sir.
Mr.
Good to see you.
Would be here today too, but he has a superintendent conference in Columbus today. So I think
Let's help John with the low.
There was a question that somebody called in, they went back with you of, it was just last week, a couple weeks ago, for what the money is that we had when they changed, the DD made those changes. Didn't you change some, how, the education
Services that
process?
were provided.
Yeah.
I
With
think
school.
you no longer have an adult day workshop, is that correct?
well, the adult workshop closed in 2018.
Yeah, a long
Okay,
time
right.
ago.
Well, still, they had asked.
Yeah, that was
Tony about
just asked. Okay, but they said they contacted, I think, you guys.
Oh,
They got the answer. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Yeah, I'll need that signature page at some point.
Oh, you know what? We can sign it. You need to take it back with you?
If you could do it,
go grab it. Yeah, can you grab it and we'll just let them take it?
and we can get the contract printed and distributed.
Absolutely.
It's an.
Is that going through Joanne or is that, I just want to confirm?
Oh.
I think Amy and Joanne.
Okay. So which,
But a lot of times they need, because it's a union contract, we do sign them,
Yeah.
so we can sign it and have a copy.
yeah, I'll make sure you get a copy for Joanne because we're trying to.
Actually, why don't we do this?
You want us to sign your copy?
Why don't we sign that?
Okay.
And then,
We can sign an extra copy.
yeah, you can make a copy of it for your files. That works.
It's very efficient.
And when that was printed up, it only had 2 lines for commissioners, so I apologize, one of you will have to sign underneath the other.
Freehanded.
Line. Yeah, could you do it freehand?
I cannot.
I'm not signing. I take 3 lines, so.
So we'll just put our money straight off the page.
They're used to it. No, I'm not that.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Lynn hired me
Oh, really?
Yeah.
16 years ago.
Yeah, I started here 24 years ago.
Time flies.
I'll give Vicky the line, you see, because I picked 2 lines.
There you go.
Team player.
Yeah.
Hey, Arthur.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Great to see you, sir.
So we'll
Take care now. Bye-bye.
You could, process it in a even labor contract now.
It's fine.
Stay within.
I'm just trying to be, you
All
know.
right, who's our next one?
Internal services.
Are they out there?
No.
You want passes to.
I'll order into it.
Oh, yeah, I hear Joanne's.
Yeah, they're coming.
Okay.
You got the, Michelle down.
So the last page, the board signed the last. Oh, this page. We'll just keep the copy. No.
Let's see, look at that.
You're right. Nice to see you again.
Well, it's just like a whole pony boat. No, it's not.
So nice. See folks you don't get to see very often.
All right. Well, all righty. Let's start with your discussion, Joanne.
Is Mr. Bill.
Is.
Yes.
I have a PowerPoint.
Okay. Then he's gonna have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm like, I'm impressed. Pretty fun. Okay.
Hey, we have the technology.
I don't know.
Use it, right?
Look at Chris, and then he goes right to it. 50 pounds on that.
Oh, he's using it. Hey, wow, he is being thin.
Right?
Yes.
Right now, first, we have to make sure to share the screen. We go.
Seated.
Yeah. And you are good to go. And you can still swipe.
Okay, what we'd like to talk about are 3 parcels of land that Board of Commissioners owns.
Yeah.
And let's put aside the park for a second to talk about your authority. And you have permissive authority in this case. That means it's your sound discretion as to whether or not you want to convey these parcels. Director Craycroft from the Park District would like to have title of these properties. Right now, she has lease agreements for all 3. But whether or not you do that, that'll be up to your call. By law, the board may by resolution transfer real property in fee simple to the federal government, to the state or Department of State, to municipality, or another political subdivision or the land bank. All it has to be though for a public purpose on the terms and in the manner that the board determines in the best interest of the county. You can do this without bidding.
Okay.
So if you wanted to convey to another political subdivision, which the park district is, you could do that without going through the bidding process.
Okay.
So. Now, let's start off with the first tract of land at Downers Woods. It was conveyed to the county back in 1973. Approximately it's about 170 acres. And I think all of us know where that's at off of Ravenna Road in Franklin Township.
You can't get to it because of the bridge, but yes, we know where it's at.
Um,
The bridge is still out.
Well, 25 years ago, in 1997, the county leased it to the park district. And this is the boilerplate language, the parties desire to unite in their efforts to promote the public use and enjoyment of the park. The consideration was standard $1. Chris, the park district agreed to maintain and regulate it and all that according to law. And also it would be a free public park except for special events. And that the original lease was for 15 years. In 2013, the commissioners extended it for another 15, which takes us to December of 2023.
28.
2028, excuse me, 15 years, 2013, but 2023. Bottom line is, whether you determine to convey it and be simple to the park district, that's in your town discretion. Now, if you were to do it, one option is you do a deed restriction or right of reverter. Now, I know it's been a public park for years, but if say someday it might not be a public park, I'm not saying it would, or say hypothetically 50 years from now, somebody determined, well, we're not going to have a public park anymore.
Turn it into a development.
Right, and in that case, you would have a right.
Restriction, yeah, or reverter.
The county could sell it. Now, Krista told me the other day that a part of the property is encumbered by a grant from a water resources grant years ago. So we want to check into that.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you were to determine the possibility, be interested in conveying it, be simple, let's have title searches to make sure that no chain of title and restriction that we have to deal with.
Chris, for that language of reverter, is that the same thing as first right of refusal? Because for reverter, sounds like it automatically would come back to us. I'm thinking about Brady Lake.
Yeah.
We used to own Brady Lake, and when that all happened, we had a first right of refusal, and people confused it that it would come back to us, and it's only if we accepted it.
Right.
I would think that instead of a reverter language, perhaps we get first right of refusal on it because we may not want it back. I mean, our future board, I'm just.
Yeah, so that's fine. You have a lot of options if you want to do a right of first refusal or just a deed restriction.
Yeah, whatever.
A lot of options, whatever you want to do, we can work out, but yeah, that's a good point. So that's the first parcel that Director Craycroft is interested in. We don't all credit for, he really worked hard, all these.
Oh, God, yeah.
Amazing thing out there. So that's the first parcel. This other one is kind of a unique one. It's two smaller parcels also in Franklin Township. It's also on Ravenna Road. It was transferred from Franklin Township to the commissioner back in 1979. And the first parcel, they're both on the same deed, is 0.59 acres. The second parcel, 0.61 acres. The second parcel contains the actual deed language for reverter. What the second parcel has is an actual structure on it. Chris was telling me basically these parcels go hand in hand because the structure is actually close to abutting parcel one. So you can't really separate the two. Oops. There we go. Here, we also have a lease agreement. Back in 2018, the board entered into a lease agreement for $1 with the park district. The park district may use the premises as a garage and field office, that's the structure, and they're responsible for maintenance. It's also a 5-year term, consideration $1. So here, a little more complicated. One option is just to convey it back to the township, make the chain of title clear, just do a quick claim deed, and let the township deal with Director Craycroft, and we can handle the lease agreement, make sure that transfers at least for another year. But that's just another option in your discretion. I know Director Craycroft would like to have fee simple title of that also. That's something you could do in your discretion. The one thing we do want to make sure of with water resources, that they do not need it for any water resources use in the future. I talked really briefly with John Best, and it doesn't sound like they do, but again, we will need to confirm that before actually do a quick claim. Final property, this is kind of neat. If you look at it, there's several parcels. If you go up north on 43, right when you get to before Twin Lakes in the sand and gravel pit on the left, well, to the west of the sand and gravel pit, your title begins to run. Stretch of land from near the gravel pit all the way to Newcomers Road and like 57 tracks. That's not right. It's actually about 45 acres. That was just one parcel. So you got about 45 acres, about the sand and gravel pit all the way to Newcomers Road. And a portion of that currently has a hike and bike trail. And, you know, Chris would like to maybe get a piece of title that as well. That again is in your strong discretion. So that's it. That's all I have on that. Those.
You know, Chris, on that second one, the Brady Lake water plant parcel.
Yeah.
And you said we could deed that back to the township, correct?
Yes.
What would you suggest on that? What would be in our best interest, the county's best interest to do that?
It doesn't have that reverter language in there. I talked to the township as to whether or not we could just convey it without having to go back to the township. And the township rather get it back to them. So provided water resources doesn't need it, I think we could just simply do a quick claim deed just to make sure the title is clear with the recorder's office.
Okay,
Like the commissioner is saying, it does technically revert once we don't use it anymore.
right.
I think we would want to make the title so clean that, yeah, we'll give them a quick claim deed, transferring it back. So that would be simplest, and you let Director Craycroft and the township then talk about it and whether or not they want to convey it to her.
And that would kind of keep the township involved also, right? I mean,
Yeah. And I think in fact, they would like, I don't want to speak for them, but it sounds like they would like to be involved.
sure.
Okay.
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 What action do we need to take?
There'll have to be resolutions done to do that, correct?
It all depends, whatever.
How they, depending on how you
For
want
each
to.
one of those.
Yeah.
that you
Yeah, because you know what, we'll have to wait till the title exam comes back on that first one, which is countered.
Mhm.
And then the other one, we'll have to check with water resources to make sure they don't need it for that one can transfer. And then the other one sounds like could just go, but it sounds like there's a little bit of work that needs done before it comes back to us.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
I think the best thing, one option to do is get your title search for the Hunter
Mhm.
property.
Yeah.
And also maybe on the Hike a Bike Trail too.
Okay.
So many parcels there. Let's see everything.
Make sure it's clear, yeah.
Yeah, the one with the old water plant, that's something you can do fairly easy.
Mhm.
And whatever you want to do on that, and we can draft a resolution when you're ready to make the decision.
And
Sounds
is internal services doing the title searches?
I can get that, I can get that handled, yeah.
All right, yeah, all right, thank you. So then we'll wait to hear back then to see everything and then we'll get a resolution, yeah.
For when they, Ravenna Planning Commission for the parking lot, when is that meeting?
It's on our product record. I think it's August the 30th or 31st. Let me look. What do we got? We've got 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Should we got one already? It is on the agenda for August the 30th.
Yeah, because I'm confused by that. We ended up going with the the plan that the city engineer, and now all of a sudden they're saying that there's not enough green space in that plan?
No, this is, you chose the one that gave us the most parking spots. This was done by the architect that got the parking lot job.
Oh,
Based on showing from what Ravenna had and what he put together.
Ah,
This is what you decided on, and early on, he had asked, does this have to go through the planning commission? And he was told, no, you're fine, you don't have to. And then all of a sudden, according to what I understood, there were some people, I don't know, who in residence, whatever,
in the city of Ravenna spoke to the mayor and said, we don't want, you shouldn't want just all this parking. We need to have more green space in Ravenna. So there's
We have the only green space in Ravenna. It's called the front courthouse lawn.
well, and it's like I said, I mean, we're losing, if we have to change it. If they, won't agree to let us do what we would like to do with our parking.
With our parking.
Yeah, we're gonna lose 15 spots, and that's critical up there. Because if we eventually do bring on another common pleas judge, you've got the judge, their people, then you've got jury.
I mean, they knew that from the beginning, though.
I know.
We emphasized that we were willing to put more greenery, but we will not give up parking.
Well, and
Plain
that's
and
what,
simple.
so I don't exactly know. I've not ever got to go before the Ravenna Planning Commission before to know anything
Cool.
on what they do, but that's,
I got it. I'll be there.
all right. And I think you were gonna go as well.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Tanya-
What I'll do is, I'll firm up because I think it's 6 o'clock or something
On
along those
Tuesday.
lines.
Yep.
And I'll
Yeah.
make sure that you guys have an
Great.
email
Thank
for
you.
that stuff. Yeah.
Joanne, shouldn't our goals be the same because it's Ravenna City and it's, I don't understand.
And that's the way I look at it, is because, I mean, they know that at 4 o'clock, that empties out.
Yeah.
And then that
they're
they're
allowed to
for
use it.
anything that they have. The car show that was last night, there were people, I mean,
Yeah.
I was astonished that came up, and I was.
I think
like,
it's
oh.
because of that revitalization of Ravenna
Oh,
group, because remember, they had that cool little paver things that would
it
have
was,
run across that. I believe it to be that.
Well, they also need to move the Veterans Memorial to put picnic tables, and we said absolutely no way.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I just want to make sure I have all my facts straight. I thought there was something mentioned about a stormwater issue. Am I wrong on that?
They said that if you're disrupting so much,
Green space.
new city ordinance or whatever went through, making sure that we have stormwater regulations. And that's what, but he checked that with them first.
Okay.
And they said, you're okay, you
That's
don't
not a
have to worry
problem.
about it. And
Okay.
then now they're.
I just
Well,
don't want to be
that's
there
not
and go to.
okay.
If you displace too much grass and with parking
Something like
lot,
grass there,
then
right?
you could have an issue. But if that isn't the issue, then I just don't want to be in a public session.
Yeah, no.
But- I never want to be in public
This is
session.
it, right.
Yeah.
all we're trying to do is repave our existing parking lot and add some greenery per their request.
To make it look pretty. Cool, we're good.
Yeah.
You're gonna give us all of that?
I would be, yeah, we'll get you.
And I'm happy to get
So educated.
Yeah. Alrighty, on the update sheet, the Lula elevator is in the warehouse.
All right.
It's gonna be installed hopefully next week with no problem.
The Lula,
That's the new Lula, limited use, limited access, yep. Then we just went through the parking. The elevators, the main elevator and the jail elevator, the old jail elevator at the courthouse has been evaluated, and we're waiting for the reports on what needs to be brought up to standards. Since we're modifying them, we have to bring it up to standards. Common pleas courtroom, we got the jury chairs, and we know the quotes, we know the pricing. And if you're going to see if you're going to fund it for this year, or if we need to tell the judge we're going to do it next year. Goes hand in hand with number 5, because she had asked for carpeting replacement too, Judge Pittman, and she
Wow.
finally was able to look at samples and has picture color kind of thing.
well, I would like to see that go this year. I mean, we've got duct tape on her carpet. Her jury chairs are the original.
I
and
think
have
we-
duct tape on them.
I
think it
I don't
needs.
think the funding of. I'm speaking out of turn. I don't think the funding is gonna be a problem.
Joe, we have it to do it, yeah.
Those should be a go.
Project or you want to go to?
Funds gonna have to be capital, I don't know if we can do it through. I'm sorry, we have to go through capital, I don't think. we
Yeah,
have it in
yeah.
maintenance.
Yeah, because the chair replacement and all that are now.
Oh, I think it needs.
$1,000, and I don't know exactly. what the park's gonna
I don't know how much
be.
it's gonna be.
No.
Yeah.
We get locked in.
So
Um,
capital improvement.
Capital.
All right, so on number 6 and 7 with probate court and common plea, juvenile court. I have a call this afternoon with the juvenile court judge and Heather regarding a few things, and I'm going to clarify now here. Because I don't know if they've had a chance to go to Riddle and look to see if moving probate over there for a few months,
Sure.
if it can be done without having to do a lot of
Are they gonna come over today
modification.
to look at it with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. They need to look because it's
No,
a great big room and it could be functional. I just don't know if that's what they're looking at. Let's see, nothing really new at Riddle or the annex or our building. The prosecutors, nope. We're moving all the way over on, okay, so the next one in red is the juvenile court, and that's the one where they were going to hopefully pay for part of it up with ARPA funds.
Mhm.
Well, the Rouse McDowell, is that Rouse
No.
McDowell?
Ricker
Is that
Edler.
Ricker Edler, or Ricker Edler, okay. They had some issues with wanting the architect to certify some certain things. I've not spoke to the architect. I put a call in. I also emailed him to call me because I think he's being overly cautious by thinking that they want that they want him to say whatever this design is going to be, it's going to mean we'll never have COVID there, and nobody's going to do that, you know. So I think he's reading more into it than it really is, but until I talk to him directly, I don't know for sure.
Make good
because
notes of
if
that
that-
conversation.
But if that's the case, then
I'm bringing him. to
I
my
have to
house.
go back to the judge and say, okay, it's almost like starting from scratch again with the new architect, and we really don't want to have to do that. I
that should be
think there's-
easily handled.
I think there's you know, but until I talk to him today.
You need
hopefully
to have
he'll
a
call me
meeting of
back.
the minds there.
Yeah.
Can you just maybe tie Allison in on that? Because I know Allison has had several phone calls with him. And she did very clearly say to him, it's mitigation as opposed to absolute not going to happen. So there is confusion on that. I just want to make sure from an ARPA standpoint, which we would love to be able to use ARPA funds. So
There
that
is no
he's
absolute.
involved in that, right?
No
There's no way you're going to
Well,
prevent,
no,
No,
right? That's not going to happen.
And
But,
that's what,
yeah.
that's what he said back in his email. He said that I don't know, I can't say that, and I don't think there's any architect out there. that
No.
knows.
Nobody can.
And the attorneys aren't saying prevent, they're saying mitigate.
Yeah.
And if he can't put a mitigation seal, $800,000 is a lot of money. If he's not willing to do that, then I do think so if you could work with Joanne to be in on it.
Hillcon, we're looking to get the funding restored to get the easement. Portage County Airport, the contract is encumbered and I'm just waiting for it to come back from the auditor with her signature. We already had yours and they already had their copy, and I asked this morning, I called for them to say, you know, you promised me you were gonna tell me last week when you were gonna start, we didn't get a date yet, so where are we at on getting started? And then the last issue is about Wick Ravenna. You got the health department letter saying that they were going to move out. And as it turns out, the Internal Services Office would like to move into the area that was in, where Wick was.
internal services.
Us.
Oh.
Part of the reason is, down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Wick.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I was thinking. Columbia. Okay.
Yeah, part of the reason is that. No offense.
Hey now.
I can hear Shan's conversations when she's on the phone in my office.
I did that.
I mean,
You know, and so we've got, the only office with the door is mine. Now we have Claire, who's going to be working with her men right outside Shannon, and it's just like, you know what, it's time, I think, that we are able to do a little bit for ourselves, since we do it for everyone else all the time, but to move over and take part of that area. The one nice thing about it is there's not a lot of renovation other than taking decals, little children's pictures and things like that off the walls and painting. It's really in pretty good shape. I'm not foreseeing like having The one thing we would want to do is just make a doorway between the dock and in there so that we can still answer the dock when Mike's not there and Mike has an access to us.
Well, the only problem I see is that childcare center, that's where they wanted to go. Was Wick, if we had, I don't, yeah.
Still the other side. There is still the other side. There is.
Because that's exactly the area that they wanted.
And they also talked about going over to the annex building, so they talked about both locations and there is still the other side.
Won't be good because there's no playground there, whereas if they went to Wick, we have those vacant lots, remember, right next there, that those houses, we tore the houses down, and she was talking about maybe putting a playground there and they could just go right there. It wouldn't be conducive to walking them through the parking lot.
No.
So if that ever goes to fruition.
So people, yeah, if it goes to fruition, we're not, we don't, not.
Well, we're still
we're
not
100%
discovering
certain that
that, but I'm just saying, I just want to throw that out there because, yeah.
Yeah, no, we
So
don't.
there's room for both if that's.
Yeah, well, Wick and Child Health shared it for years. And that's why I said we don't need the whole area. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, there.
We wouldn't need the whole area, but we do need to have some areas where we can talk with people and not everybody can hear.
Yeah, but we might just want to check with Kelly Jo to see what areas she was thinking of and get Kelly Jo and Joanne, so we're all on the same page in case that does.
Absolutely. I can arrange that. We can arrange that for sure, most definitely.
Yeah.
But I do know, I have been walked through the area and Shannon doesn't have an office. Patty doesn't have an office. You have a cubicle wall, sort of, kind of. It's also set up to be our tornado shelter is what your area was meant to be, which we made a pseudo office set up for it. So it would be ideal for you guys, but I will 100% arrange a meeting so we can talk with Kelly Jo.
That sounds great. Good, thank you.
Maybe you
Otherwise,
could bring up a map for the board to see or something.
Oh, of the area.
Of what they're talking about, what they would utilize and what would be left open. Maybe next week.
Got chopped up over there. I've been in there like twice.
we will. We kind of
Have a map.
thought, we kind of thought maybe.
Well, I have one, sorry.
Yeah.
So this is the Wick, the yellow, Shannon.
So the yellow is
The yellow is-
yeah, let me see the Wick side.
This is the whole map.
That's the whole map of the whole thing.
Okay.
And then this is the Wick side.
Okay.
And then these have two, access doors, but this side would have these rooms, easy.
We would need the back.
So hopefully you're gonna have a little more room than you do now.
Right, and I can, like, when I was trying to,
They
have conversation with my maintenance guys, I have to go on room 134, well, 134.
Like I said,
There's really a whole separate entity then.
cut out bathroom. So that's fine.
I'll make a copy of that for you guys and hand it to you and then we'll
Yeah.
have Kelly Jo as well.
Yeah, you need
Sounds
to check with her. To
You
make
can make a
sure.
copy and
Yeah,
I just wanted them to have a visual.
yeah, I have that.
Kelly Jo needs to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the annex, no matter who lives in there, isn't gonna happen any soon,
Okay.
and so, yeah. Okay.
You ready?
I am ready, ma'am. Board of Commissioners agrees to enter an agreement with Portage County Child Support Enforcement Agency and Portage County Domestic Relations Court Magistrate Services.
Second.
Roll call, Tony?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into a sub-grant agreement with Portage County Jobs and Family Services and Family and Community Services, Inc. to provide Ohio Early Intervention Services, coordination, and outreach services.
Second.
Roll call, Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
Yes.
Board of Commissioners move to approve the sale of real property known as 3480 South State Route 59, Ravenna, Ohio, and authorize the execution of the real estate purchase agreement by the Board of Commissioners and the authorities of county administrators to execute the deed and related to closing documents on behalf of Portage County Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Roll call, Tony?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
Yes.
The Board of Commissioners moves to accept and award the bid to Marucci, I should know that, Gaffney Excavating Company, 2022 Newton Falls Bridge Replacement Project, RAV 126 C177A, Ravenna Township, Portage County, Ohio.
Second,
Roll call. Johnny?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. David?
yes,
Board of Commissioners moves to accept the bid and award the contract, project number FH2 21-140, 2021 sanitary sewer maintenance program, Bolingbrook, Portage County Regional Sewer District, Portage County, Ohio.
second,
Roll call. Johnny?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes,
Board of Commissioners agrees to enter an agreement with the Water Resources and Kimberly Horn Associates, Inc.
second,
Roll call. Johnny?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes. Vicky?
yes,
Board of Commissioners authorize the sale of obsolete equipment for public auction.
second.
Roll call. Johnny?
Yes.
Sabrina? Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Miss Dawn. Good morning.
Can you make,
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am.
How's it rainy today?
Very pretty.
Not ready for,
I am ready for football.
okay.
Okay. So, is Chris coming up? Oh, there you go. Oh, there he is.
We got,
Fans, no fans. You know, a techie world.
and it's about having 3 public hearings.
Yes,
Okay. So
we
start,
can start it, this one, number 8.
wait, let me share the study. Seven or 8. Where did jump to something?
All right.
Let's go here.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, as probably all of us know, our solid waste district has a unique past practice in the way it delivers curbside recycling services. You know, not only does the district have its own trucks and employees, we also do it by offering contracts to the legislative authorities of participating political subdivisions. That makes our district unique from many other districts, the way it provides services. Now's a good time to add to our past practice and start having 3 public hearings. But before we get to that, just a brief background. As we all know, you have a solid waste management plan. Every county is required to establish a solid waste management district or a joint district with other counties. I looked yesterday in Ohio, about 33 single county districts like we have, and about 14 joint county districts. They range from anywhere from 2 counties to 6 counties. The bottom line, every county has to have a solid waste district by them. We have. The principal purpose of the district is to implement Ohio EPA solid waste management, which our county has. The first solid waste management plan, Portage County, was approved by the director of the Ohio EPA in 1993. Since that time, we had 3 updates. The 2015 update was prepared to show compliance with 8 goals of the state waste management plan. So the state has a solid waste management plan that every district is supposed to aspire or not, and Jerry could face efforts to achieve. For instance, goal 1 is access. And in our plan, the objective goal in goal 1 is to provide infrastructure access to at least 90% of the residents. And there's some other things. The document is about 170 pages. It's a lot of information we don't need to get into, but it's a public record. What our plan says, historically, the district began curbside collection services to fill a service gap for no private sector providers were offering curbside services. So that's how the evolution of it went. Before any of us were doing this, the district began offering curbside services, and they began doing with the government contracts. Also under the plan, political subdivisions may continue to contract with the district for the service, or they may seek private providers. There's a private option in the plan. Now, again, like we mentioned, we're kind of unique in that not only do we have our own trucks and employees, we use the government contract method. And for all these years, it's worked pretty good. Last fall was the traditional period for the district, as we all know. And also last fall,
Transition, yeah.
transitional. And also, like we remember from last fall, the district began offering a new standardized rate contract to the legislative authorities. And basically, as we all know, but hopefully the public is aware of that, they're just an 18-month contract. They run from January 2022 through July 2023. And it's an automatic renewal. However, the way it was drafted, either party can choose not to renew for any or no cost. So there's an out clause. Okay, now, important for this year, this will be the initial year that the standardized rate is going to be certified for collection. You know, every summer when you certify your rate. So I'm going to recommend, since this is a new era, and we have for the first time, a standardized rate for curbside recycling. I think now's a good time to do a good thing, and before we certify this time around, have a free public hearing. You never go wrong by having a public hearing, whether you need them or not. Hey, let people come on in, say what they have to say.
It's good transparency too.
Absolutely.
So,
That's pretty much it. It does not affect our contracts. And the contracts we're still operating under. All we're doing, we're just gonna have free public hearings, and after those, we'll just certify it down to the auditor.
now, Chris, in the past, when we've had 3 hearings, we have 2 like during the day and then we have 1 in the evening for evening folks. Is that still, you think, a good practice? I mean, just so that,
Yeah, it's up to you.
okay,
I mean, I think that the word's out as 550 rate. I mean, if we were gonna do a brand new rate, you might wanna do that. If you wanna do that.
oh,
that's fine.
okay. Now, I was just wondering because it has been out there, but I don't want someone being upset, you know, we're always gonna have someone upset that they couldn't attend. So we tried to have one session in the evening for folks that work during the day if they wanted to come, but.
It's a good idea, and there's nothing in the statute that you have to have an evening session. I mean, I know 2 years ago, before COVID hit, when the district was actually thinking about possibly doing away with the government contracts, just using like a unilateral assessment, you decided not to do, and that's fine. I know at that point we were gonna have hearing about, but that was a significant change to what
Yeah.
was done. Here, you know, if you wanted to just have them during your regular Thursday meetings, and everybody knows it's 550, I don't see a problem with that, but again, it's ultimately up to you whether or not you want to have one hearing tonight. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have to have this every time we're gonna change a rate?
If you're gonna change the rate in the future, yes, but if you hold the rate for a few years, no. So it all depends on the district and you folks think you need to
Okay,
make
Thanks,
rates.
Jerry. Okay,
thank you.
all right, thank you. So Chris, when should we start with the hearings?
Yeah, we do need to have 3 weeks notice in the paper, consecutive. So if we start running them, say next week, I think that'll give us enough time to have our hearings, say September 1st, September 8th, September 15th, at your Thursday regular meetings. And then
Okay,
your certification.
okay, that's fine. Did you hear that, Sarah?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to put notifications out.
First Thursday, of
Thursday.
third Wednesday
Yeah,
of September.
and we can do, 3 weeks in a row.
Do we have the dates we're gonna have?
Yeah.
those?
he
He
just
just
sent
said-
them.
I got a sample notice that I can send, we can look.
Yeah, no worries.
Because the initial notice had them all during the day. Does the board want to have one of those in the evening? Just so we're all on the same page on how to do what.
Sounds like we can just do them all during the day.
Sure. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And then so instead of Dawn, we'll have the boards. Add an assistant to that.
We have a connect to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first,
So you won't be
the
doing-
15th.
Yeah.
And they will all be during the day.
Yep.
Okay.
Just some examples.
All right, well, thank you. All right, we'll get on it.
You good?
Done.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Perfect. Do we have any public comment today? This morning? If not,
No.
You want to recess then until the airport authority? All right, we'll recess until 11 o'clock for public comment.
Thanks, Chris.
come on up and we'll take just a second to think of this. Okay, and we are good to go. Okay, good morning. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, I want to introduce an idea that haven't had, we study behavior change for the Black and poor Americans in Ravenna. So for the last, since 2017, we've been studying different methodologies, the scientific methodologies of behavior change. What I use is social cognitive theory, looking into the community, looking at the way they think, the way they feel, what angers them, what makes them happy. What are they feeling alienated, or the food desert or the place desert came up. The place desert, I know you've heard of the food desert. You've heard of the place desert? It's also a place desert. I put in a grant for that years ago, probably in 2018. But the place desert is where you feel alienated from your land, where you don't feel like you belong. And that's one of the problems with the behavior in our community. They don't feel like they belong. They feel like they own the land, but it's not theirs for real. So what we studied and found that in 1940, so I did my ancestry. You don't have to read, I'm just going to show you. I have my ancestry from 1940. It was my granddad was Edwin Cheney Fortson, which they call him both Italy, on a bunch of land around here. And I got all the stories, this is stories upon stories, newspaper articles on Proctor. And these are all newspaper articles on what Proctor was, what Proctor is, what the allotment was. They called them allotments, right? What is an allotment? So we did the study, found out that allotment is the federally allotted, the General Allotment Act. It's a federal allotment act where not only that area, but more than that area was allotted to our people. That's what's going on. And we supposed to have set up a city. What they did, not to blame anyone, but when you make a mistake, just get up and brush yourself off. And this is us brushing ourselves off, filing the paperwork they should have filed in 1940. 1940, they should have created a charter. They should have created a city. We filed with the IRS already, this is Proctor City. So we filed with the IRS, with the Department of Treasury. Here's the stamp. That's the Department of Treasury. Department of Interior, August 2017, stamp letter to me, explaining how to actually put it together, what they need, and I've been doing that. State Secretary of State, Iowa Secretary of State, Uniform Commercial Finance, UCC Finance Statement, Uniform Commercial Code Finance Statement, and the petition from the citizens for the petitions that match, or the positions that match the charter, mayor, legislation, city council, fire, police, DOJ, school board, all those things.
Where's that area at?
Here, and what they call it today, they call it McElroy Park, which is really Proctor. We all own the land, most of the land already. It's also skilled, and it's also Ravenna and Ohio Avenue. So we're petitioning the charter those areas as a city, the whole city of Proctor City, and being part of Portage County. Proctor City will be in the area of Portage County. So we're informing you and want to ask for information on the documents that you need from us for the further steps, because we're here, we're incorporating next. These are just the filing with the IRS. Our next steps are charter and incorporation. To incorporate as a city. And once we do that, we'll be meeting to let you know and claim our territories, and the territories that we're claiming is within the Portage County borders. And here's the map.
Yeah, we can't actually advise you on that. You
Oh,
would have to get with someone. I mean,
Oh, we know.
and sure. I mean, normally in order to proclaim yourself as a city, you have to have a certain amount of population, certain
We got
amenities
1,000
and stuff.
people, and we got more than 1,000 people. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have.
so that's something you should probably,
The definition of what a city is and how many population.
yeah, because it becomes a municipality, which is
And then we started that
incorporated.
to incorporate as a city. Some people said maybe it should be like a if the population of you didn't change as a borough or maybe
I would think that would have to go to a ballot initiative. I mean, you couldn't just come in there and change.
Yeah, there's a bunch of legal.
There's
I
a
mean, you have a lot of work with it.
it's steps to take.
Yeah.
But this is part of one of our studies.
Mhm.
As a community, we were looking for what's wrong with us. What's wrong with people? Why people can't really work together? How come we can't support ourselves like other communities? What is the behavior problem? And that's one of them. Place desert, that we don't feel we belong to anymore. We feel that,
Sound like the Italians.
yeah, but the Italians take our stuff.
Mhm.
The Italians take it from us. And
The other 35 people for that. too.
You can take stuff from people, but then,
Yeah.
you know, and that's just the way, we're not.
That's what life is here.
It's a relation, but then it's also getting up, and we're here, there's 1,000 of us left. But with those 1,000, we have people in California and Georgia and Florida and Akron and Cleveland that have nowhere to go. They're just like the 12 tiers.
Yeah.
So what we're doing, we're gonna get those people back. That's gonna be part of our population. We're doing all that work now. And,
Mark, your 5 minutes is up and we do have someone
Thank you, sir.
scheduled for 11:05. But thank you for coming in and sharing this information.
Did a lot of work.
Well, we'll watch for the progress.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Homer, did you want to come on out?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think you can pretty much start it, can't you?
Oh,
Or did you want to wait for Chris?
no, we can go on. He's usually precedes me. He has, so I don't know, maybe he must run into a problem. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, good morning and, thank you for, seeing me this morning. We had a couple urgent needs at the airport. I wanted to talk about those and hopefully, could give you enough information that you could provide, some funding for these as we go forward. So, let me just talk about the first thing. University Hospital approached us about stationing an ambulance as a first step to developing a medical facility at the Portage County Airport. One of the issues with that is that our condition of Nanoway Boulevard, which is our access road, is it's pretty poor. I mean, we haven't done anything with that. I think it's been at least 20 years. I couldn't even really find the documentation that says when it was done last. But since then, we basically, patched road potholes and even had volunteers supply the aircraft that are parked on the south side in the hangars there. The guys there donated money and their time to patch potholes last year. So we're just we really struggle from year to year. It's passable, but not something I'd want to have my aged grandmother or somebody go down in an ambulance. So, the yellow is Nanoway Boulevard, and the UH medical team would be stationed there at the FBO. They would take the same facilities that Metro Life Flight used to have. They're in that. Portage Flight Center, Dick Bonner is refurbishing those now to provide for them. The hope is that what UH is committed to right now is to establish an ambulance service there at the airport, and from time to time, when the situation arises, they would temporarily have a helicopter site. They have 2 helicopters, one in Medina, one in
Middlefield.
And one in Medina. And if one of those is offline for repairs or whatever issue, they find that Portage County is the central location and that they would then have an airport helicopter at our airport for a while.
Doesn't it have something also to do with the usury site of vision that they can have to take off during inclement weather and stuff? We have better, you have a name for it.
Yeah, for our IFR procedures.
Yes.
Right, yes. Portage County has has 2 GPS approaches that'll let you come down to about 200 feet above the surface of the runway, just flying on instruments. So if you have low cloud cover,
Portage Airport is a good place to come to as far as
Yeah.
instrument procedures, and that's obviously attractive when, and that they're just 2 miles from 2.5 miles, I believe, from the University Hospital.
So they're gonna have the ambulance there 24/7, and then they're gonna have the life flight there on a part-time basis, is my
If needed.
understanding.
As well as the
And
facilities of the other helicopter.
yeah, yeah, because they're also gonna be storing stuff in a hangar, right? With the lease for the FBO center back in the
Right.
back.
The other thing they needed was storage space for the ambulance.
Yes, yes,
And you see at the west end of Nanoway, that the hangar, the first hangar, there, that's the FBO owned hangar. So they would be able to store their ambulance in that building. There's several
yeah.
places they could store that. So that would be the short term answer for where they would store their ambulance.
Yeah, because I thought that was all gonna be part of the leasing of the FBO center. They were also gonna.
Yeah.
Get a hangar.
Yeah,
too.
there's a number of things on there. They supplied a list of requirements that,
So we have long known Nanoway Boulevard, and we've checked numerous times. We know like the county engineer cannot touch that because it's not a dedicated road, it's private. And so we've long known, and if anyone's ever been out there, you know what it's like. The runway cracks and seal repair, and then the restripe of the runway.
can I make one more comment? here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure I'm going to go through at the end and show you the actual numbers for the quotations we have at this point. We have a second quotation, and we've been advised by that guy that he doesn't know for sure what the base is going to look like under. The initial plan is to take 4 inches off the top of the roadway and
Grind it down.
and then the question is, what's the base like below that? So I'm not asking for any money for that at this point. I mean, I think we can't do that based on speculation, but we won't know that until they actually start to work and take the top off the road. It could end up being, some significant, I would say significant cost more than that. Maybe 20 to 40% more, if that.
So we're talking right now, you're, I think, 106,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
what
The
the
base is
disaster
unbeatable.
recovery is once they take 4 inches off.
right.
Okay.
And they haven't gone out there and tested to see.
Right. I don't know. I'm not sure how they could I don't know if they could core sample it or what they could
Mhm.
do in the situation. But I just wanted you to know that that's, we're planning on that being adequate, but worst case is it is.
There's a possibility that
Exactly.
I have to be honest, I thought, I was surprised the quote was so low, to be honest, with the cost of asphalt and everything going up and
Yeah.
having an apartment complex, and I'm paying about half of that for a much smaller area than this. I better. check
No,
it out, but-
we had
But-
a company Akron quote that, and
Good,
they've done some
good.
work for us.
Great.
And then Sabrina, you were talking about the,
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
skipped ahead on you. I don't think you have too much convincing on Nanoway. We've all been out there.
and the other issue was, this one precipitated itself when we have a ODOT inspection that's done at the airport it's supposed to be done every 2 years. With the pandemic, it hasn't been done probably for 4 years, something like that. And markings on the runway are critical to that. They're critical to pilots in that they have to be visible from 1,000 feet above ground level as you're flying, to be able to identify that you're landing on the correct runway. I mean, it's
not imperative, but yeah.
Yeah.
so that sort of precipitated us looking at the whole situation with the runway. And from this Google map picture, you can see that you can't even see the center line. It is not visible at all. And even where the dash lines and the number 27 is, those when you get closer to them or on the ground, you can barely see what's there. So we we looked at that situation with the inspection work that's going to happen to it sometime in the next couple of months, and we looked at the runway, and there's cracks in it too. The runway was paved in 2016 and 2017, half each year, paved with FAA money, and So it's been a while since that's been attended and
What does the 27 stand for?
that is on the compass, it's 270 degrees, which is west.
Okay.
So that runway goes from east to west. And if you look at the other end of the runway, it's 180 degrees different than that.
Wow. I don't see the 9 though.
It's,
No.
you can't, it's not long.
It's not long enough for us to look at.
And I should mention, I wanted to mention here too, you see that south taxiway that's sort of nice and black and you can see the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one we did last year. That cost us about $10,000 to do. We had the funding to do that, but we don't have enough cash on hand or won't have to do the north part on the runway there. So it's two things. One, it's the need to have the markings done and also the trying to do preventative work on the cracks to not make those be a bigger problem sometime in the future.
So when they came out and inspected recently,
No,
they haven't yet. So we're trying to head them off. So we're looking good.
Right. I mean, and even if he comes out next month, it would be, it'd be nice to be able to say that we looked at this, we've got this in the works, it's gonna be done this year yet or next spring.
Homer, how many quotes did you get? Did you just get the one?
Well, we had another company out and we have a third one that's coming out. So
Okay,
we'll
good.
have 3 quotes.
Okay.
Our feeling with coming to you at this point was at least to get the ball
Balls
rolling and that becomes like a not to exceed. Obviously, we have this quote, so it should be good. If the other ones come in less, then we, think that's a good opportunity. We would take that up, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the thing. And on the final page there is just the parts of the quote pertinent to our discussion this morning. About $106,000 to do Nanoway Boulevard. The runway is about $40,000 to do the crack sealing and sealing in general. And then about $4,175 to do the markings.
What, who's this quote
This
from?
is from Aaron Apple.
Oh, fair, okay. So, okay. Tony or Vicky, do you have any questions?
Sounds like if we're gonna keep that runway and keep the airport open, these are at the bottom line that has to be done to keep us in line with the FAA and being able to utilize the airport for them to see us doing a good faith that we're engaged with the airport.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I see it as advantageous for our citizens, having that ambulance and having the lifeline being able to come in there. Because it's my understanding, it's contingent upon Nanoway being paid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not gonna consider it. And that's a perk for everyone, having that ambulance. So I would be in favor of these repairs. Joe? Shake that money tree.
You do have the money, yeah, like, don't we want to
We have, I think there's two separate things here. This is something that must be absolutely positively done, has nothing to do with consultant fees.
No, this has nothing
This
to
is,
do.
we gotta stay alive and do things preventative and maintenance wise. And then that other is totally a separate issue.
But this also, we will make this part of the consulting package looking into the FBO because now they will have a lease where they're sitting empty now that they will need to consider when they're advising us. So we'll have to get that information, but we can't get that until we know that this is gonna be done, that we have the funding, and I know we will have the funding for it. So.
Homer, this is no surprise to us. I hope you know that.
No, I appreciate your interest in it because it is, we're Commissioner Bennett says that it's two things that we need to have done. You know what I mean? It just is, and it is a matter of preventing things that on the runway that we don't want to get worse and be much more expensive. And the university hospital, I think, is a feather in everybody's cap besides
Yeah, it is a
the
big
importance
plus
to the
for us.
community, which is you know, having that kind of service nearby, that close to the hospital is quite the benefit, I think, to the public.
Yep.
Okay, so your takeaway, Homer, is we are interested in funding this, but we do need to see those other two quotes. So we need you to get those as soon as possible to us. Send them to the three commissioners and Michelle, and we'll get them to Joe over there. So then we will have to get our ducks in a row and then pass a resolution and stuff to do it, but we need those other two quotes.
All right, like I said, we had one company in, and Mark Atwood's been working on that for us, and
So next week or two, we should be able to have all that, so we can do our best.
this will provide us with some certainly short-term
Yeah,
incentives.
because we're gonna be running against the weather too. That's why I say,
That's exactly right. So,
don't let them take 2-3 weeks because
Yep.
we'll be out of time. We don't know it.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir, for
all right,
coming.
thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. Do we have anything else? Come for the board today, Tony?
I'm good.
I'm good. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
She was thinking. She wanted to stay longer.
No, I didn't hear my name, but.
All right.